to have you talk more or less about the Barber Club.
Well, the Butter Boys sure love to come to races and give haircuts to all these athletes, and especially the guys. The guys usually end up walking away with either their side shaved, maybe a new mullet, but it's just this camaraderie that all these athletes are, you know, having with one another and the Butter Boys. So Hoka brought them in along with Chrissy Gear. Chrissy Gear went to Arkansas, our USATF champion in the steeplechase, ran at the World Champs. So cool to have her there.
And a very engaging personality as well. And Carrie Tollefson, who you're hearing from, she was the USA Cross Country Champion in 2006, in addition to the NCAA Cross Country Champion in 1997. And one of the great sights in all of sports, the Peloton, as we get started here with this very prestigious College Women's Harders Habanero 5K. And the heavy favorite, Carrie, would be the University of Arkansas itself, the host school.
Yeah, they're going for their 11th consecutive team win and sixth consecutive individual win. Last year, we saw the the Arkansas Razorbacks just work together and have such a great meet. And actually, this year they've already run at Oklahoma at the Cowboy Preview, and they actually saw some of their new athletes that are on the team run really well. So they're a young team right now, and exciting to see them race so well. They're ranked a little bit lower than I thought they would be, but I think they just have such a young squad that people don't know how they're going to perform. And so all of these early races are super important for them to kind of get their feet wet and see where they are.
35 teams in this race, and as you mentioned, Arkansas is the only one ranked in the top 25. They're ranked 20th by the USTF CCA, and first in the South Central region, and a number of Razorbacks already to the front. We've had some really good performances. Sydney Thorvaldson, the sophomore, who was fourth here last year, she's the number 2 returnee, and she really ran well in the Cowboy Preview meet that you mentioned. She won that. She was 12th in the NCAA 5,000 meters last year, first in the SEC 10,000 meters. But people might remember Sydney from a high school career, a meritorious high school career, 4 high school years, undefeated in 35 cross-country races. Representing Rollins High School in Wyoming, she was the Gatorade National High School Athlete of the Year in 2021. And it looks like right now that there are at least 5 Arkansas runners in the lead pack.
Not surprising to see them out there as a pack working together. You know, as I said, they're young, but they do have experience. And you talking about Thorvaldson, like she knows how to win. That's all she did in high school. And so for her to be up front right now, kind of helping these younger athletes in her second year as a Razorback, that's her job now. She's the one leading the way.
And it does look like Thorvaldson there in the lead. Although it is a bit tough to tell.
She does have that long blonde ponytail. And, you know, she had some ups and downs last year. And I can remember reading her Instagram, and, you know, there was a couple of events that she didn't really want to compete at or didn't do her best at because of some ups and downs in her training. But she is such a racer. And you can see that right now with all these Arkansas Razorbacks. They're up there, they're fighting, and that's what makes a great team in that big pack that we're looking at right now. That's what makes a great team.
And Thorvaldson leading that pack. In second is Paityn Noe. Now, this is the freshman, Paityn Noe, who is, I call her kind of an incredible grinder. She is so tough. I've seen her compete so often. She won the Nike Outdoor National 5000 last year. She was second behind Thorvaldson in that Cowboy Preview cross country. And she was 10th at the NXN cross country last year, the Nike Cross Country Nationals. And Paityn Noe has got a little, while Thorvaldson has a gap on Noe, Noe's got a gap on her Arkansas teammates as well out there.
Yeah, Noe is so good over all, you know, different disciplines, but she was also third at champs last year. She says she likes to get out hard. And this is what we see with great runners. When you're a youngster like that, just going for it. Sometimes when you're young, it's hard to hold back But I like how she's racing today. She's holding back in just the sense that she knows that Thorvaldson's having a great year and that she knows how to race here, but she's got her eyes on her, but also she still has her teammates right there. So she is young. We also have Maya Cochran, who was 6th here last year. She's also young and such a great talent too. So there's a lot of really good runners on the Arkansas team. And it's just fun to see them all in this big pack together, working hard together.
Well, there is some Thorvaldson definitely has increased her lead significantly here. She looks very, very strong. So Carrie, she was from Wyoming, so didn't have a lot of competition until she competed at the national level. She had kind of her best performances during those pandemic years, and then she came to Arkansas, and it's been a bit tough for her to find that level that she had in high school. Any theories as to why all of a sudden she is back, at the top of the heap, so to speak?
Well, I think sometimes just getting into the groove of a new environment, being away from home, training at a different level, having people around you. I think that's a big thing that a lot of, you know, uh, people outside the sport might not understand. When you are by yourself winning state championship after state championship, and you get into a program where you have multiple state champions and very good runners, sometimes mentally it's really hard to hear so many bodies breathing around you and have so many people around you. You have to get used to that, whether it's in practice or in races. So it just takes time sometimes for other athletes to find themselves again and to figure out how to get real hungry and not get discouraged by having bodies around you all the time.
So, Carrie, it's 88 degrees out there. Sydney Thorvaldson through the first mile, 5:06.8, so a 6-second gap over
Wow.
teammate Paityn Noe. Now, the big news here is that Arkansas has a perfect score going right now, 15 points. A perfect score means that they have the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place runners at the moment. Noe in second, Laura Taborda, the transfer, in third, Mary Ellen Udali in fourth, who is a sophomore. Mia Cochran in fifth, also a sophomore. So four of their top five right now, either freshman or sophomore. And Taborda, the transfer from Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be a lot of
Transfer.
drama in the team scoring aspect, at least at the top, because also, Carrie, Arkansas has 4 between 12 and 15. So they have 9 of the top 15 in this race.
Yeah, not surprising. I mean, this is their home course. This is what they want to do. This is where they want to come out and really showcase what they've been doing in the early stages of this cross country season. And, I know from Lance saying this and the other coaches, I mean, this is an important thing for them to have on their running resume, that they were on a team that won. And especially when you've won 10 in a row, you want to make sure your team performs. I was on a team at Villanova where they had won 6 NCAA championships in a row as a team. And the first year I went there, we lost. And it is devastating when you are on that team and they have such history. So this race in itself for the Arkansas Razorbacks, it weighs a lot on them.
And Carrie, we're coming up to just about the halfway point in here, and Sydney Thorvaldson looking so comfortable, and Paityn Noe right behind her, also looking rather comfortable. SMU is currently in second with 71 points. SMU, they're ranked 6th in the South Central region. They have a nice 1-2 punch at that university. Caitlin Guerin, a junior who was 8th at the 1 mile mark, and German Leonie Mierzwa, who was 10th at the 1 mile mark. That's a potent 1-2. And I think Noe might actually be gaining a little bit on Thorvaldson here, unless it's an
It looks
optical
like
illusion.
she is. No, it looks like she definitely is. And, that's the one thing with these younger athletes is they might get a little scared to be right up on such a stellar athlete like Thorvaldson is. But Paityn Noe has the credentials and she has the talent to do that. So it's nice to see that she's got her eyes up on her. She's watching what she's doing and trying to close that gap.
Metroline Jepkemboy, the freshman from UT Arlington, was 6th at the 1 mile mark. She was second in her first 2 races this year, including the Gerald Ritchie Invitational and the A&M Invitational, which was a couple weeks ago. Another kind of outstanding performance, Tabitha Nagayo, currently in 7th, and you can see that margin just tightening up ever so slightly with Noe who has proven already to be a tremendous recruit for Arkansas. But Tabitha Nagayo from TCU, that's another fine recruit. She's a 2:04.51 800-meter runner, and she has been first in both her races in cross country this fall at the John McKenzie Invite and the Gerald Ritchie UTA Invite. So big gap here, big gap between Noe and everybody else, and maybe a tightening gap between Thorvaldson and Noe.
Well, as we said, they did go 1-2 at the Oklahoma State preview, Cowboy preview, and they were right next to each other at that finish line. They were back to back, basically. So Sydney and Paityn know how to run together. I'm sure that they're working out super hard together, and this is a strong 1-2 punch that they have. And that's why I think their rankings are a little bit low.
I tend to agree with you. I think that their rankings are a little bit low, and that's probably due to the fact that I don't think anybody realized how good Paityn Noe was going to be as a freshman.
Yeah, even New Daly, who was third for the team there at the preview. I mean, she's a stellar athlete as well, and she was about 8 seconds behind them. But again, the whole pack was pretty tight in that early stages. But look at Noe here. This is where she really shows that she is such a talented athlete. Thorvaldson is so strong working up the hill right here, but Noe isn't letting her get away at all. She's driving hard, and she's not letting any space on that hill, showing that she has that strength as an incoming freshman. And that's really exciting for her. And it's exciting for Thorvaldson to have somebody pushing her in a race where she could clearly be out there in front by herself.
Agreed. And Noe, it's kind of like the expression on her face. You can't judge how well she's running by expression on her face, because she always looks like she's in a little bit of distress. But nevertheless, she is just gobbling that distance between her and Thorvaldson. And we don't have much left in this race. Only about 5 minutes left in this race, and now Noe is right on Thorvaldson's shoulder. And Noe going up the hill is about ready to pass Thorvaldson. There you see it, Noe up and over that little incline, and that did it. That incline did it for Paityn Noe.
Well, Noe has wheels over the 1,600 or over the mile, along with her 5,000 meters. She's so good on the track as well. And this is where you can really see it on these nice flat sections. Look at her form. She's very strong. She's a 4:39 miler in high school. So she's got the wheels to go, and now she's just really starting to draw out this final kick.
And the Ole Miss transfer, Laura Taborda, running third. Now, Caitlin Guerin, who we spoke about from SMU, has moved into fourth. So it's not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Arkansas peloton yet. Matrilene Jepkempoy, that freshman, she's in fifth. Then Heidi Nielsen and Mia Cochran. So Arkansas, will win the team title by a mile, but it won't be a sweep. And Paityn Noe just really grinding it out here. Such a mentally tough competitor is Paityn Noe. What a great recruit for the University of Arkansas. And she is not slowing down at all. And Thorvaldson, meanwhile, has a huge gap, 21 seconds over her teammate Laura Taborda.
Well, and this has to be exciting for both these athletes. Paityn Noe having a really nice race, going for that 7th consecutive win individually for the Razorbacks. But for Sarah Thorvaldson to have this type of an athlete to push her and to help her see a different athlete in herself, that's what you have to get excited about. Even though it's a young freshman coming in and running really well, Sydney, has to get very excited to know that she has one of the best high school recruits coming in and already there at Arkansas, pushing her along the way. So I would think the Arkansas ladies will be pleased with this effort today and really excited. In this heat, at home, showing their talent, it's awesome.
88 degrees, Noe again from Huxley, Iowa. She went to Ballard High School, 9:28.89, 3,000 meters, 10:03.78 for the 2 mile, and 16:04.69 for 5,000 meters. So to your point, she has great track credentials.
Yep. Razorback after Razorback here.
Caitlin Guerin from SMU, really nice run by her as well. As we go back to Noe, with about 2 minutes to go in this race, Guerin was 9th in the Cowboy Preview earlier this year, 3rd in the Ritchie Cross Country, but Guerin was 2nd all the way back in 2021 at the AAC, that conference, American Athletic Conference Cross Country Championships, and 2nd in 23 this year in the 5 and 10K on the track. So she definitely has credentials and running a fine race here. So Paityn Noe can probably feel it right now, Carrie, that this one's in the bag.
Yeah, she looks so strong out there. Last year, Isabel Van Camp ran and won it in 15:58. Lauren Gregory was right on her shoulder running 15:58. Both of them not here this year. Sydney was the top returner, Sydney Thorvaldson for Arkansas. She was 4th last year in 16:32. But man, this is such a great race for the freshman coming in. A lot of people know her name, Paityn Noe. She's done so great in high school, but starting her cross-country season here for the Razorbacks looks pretty sharp.
One thing about that race last year, Carrie, actually Lauren Gregory kind of let Isabel Van Camp win. Lauren Gregory was competing unattached, and she kind of backed off at the end to let Izzy Van Camp win. And but this is as markedly different as that race was. And here comes Paityn Noe into Paityn Noe into the home stretch. Great turnover, and this young freshman, this result is going to resonate across the country as Paityn Noe picks up where she left off as a highly decorated high school runner and will win the Chile Pepper Harder's Habanero 5K, and a nice time there, somewhere around 16:10, and the margin of victory astounding.
Wow. Here comes Sydney, but when Paityn Noe went by her, she went by her with a vengeance, and she looks so strong. You know, Sydney is a great runner herself, Sydney Thorvaldson. She is so accomplished on the track, as I said. She cannot be disappointed with this race. It's just exciting to see that they have so many great athletes Arkansas has.
So Noe 16:09.4. Here comes Thorvaldson. Laura Taborda just kept on eating people up in this race, and she finishes a very strong 3rd, the Ole Miss transfer. So 1, 2, 3 Arkansas, and then that looks like Caitlin Guerin coming in as well, but behind. Guerin got picked, I think, maybe at the line there by Heidi Nielsen. So Nielsen, then Guerin. So Arkansas 1, 2, 3, 4. Guerin of SMU 5th. The Ponies, the Mustangs, and then Jep Kemboy, the freshman, in 6th. Rahel Brummel of Arkansas State in 7th. Allison Beasley of Western Colorado, another fine track runner. She finishes in 8th. That's a good performance for Beasley. She's a 10:24.98 steepler, and she won the Mountaineer Invitational Cross Country this year. She was 17th last year at this race, so a move up for certain there for Allison Beasley from 17th to 8th. And Isabella Ross, another returning letterman, so to speak, 9th this year. Last year, she was 15th at the Chile Pepper, the sophomore from Southern Mississippi. Mia Cochran finishes 10th for Arkansas. And Mary Ellen Udali, 11th. Cochran was 6th last year. Somebody we didn't mention, Carrie, Mackenzie Rogers finishes 12th for Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas seems to have a lot of names that, you know, could be in that top 7. I mean, they have a big group of gals that are very good, and I think it's going to take a couple more races to figure out who's going to be in their top on that team that goes to nationals.
So SMU and Western Colorado in a pretty good battle for 2nd. Western Colorado came in as the 6th ranked team in the NCAA Division II. fourth in the NCAA Division II South Central region. We saw that Allison Beasley finished high up there amongst the individuals, finishing in 8th. SMU got a good performance from Flora Tissier in 15th, the aforementioned Leonie Mierzwa in 17th. Maddie Holsey, their senior leader, finished 22nd. And then Faustine Chibachi, a freshman from SMU, that's their scoring 5. Meanwhile, for Western Colorado, Beasley in 8th, Leah Taylor in 14th. And then it was a little bit further back to Lauren Wilson in 30th, Gretchen Slattum in 35th, and then Jaden Nix in 40th, and their stud freshman, Paityn Weiss, actually both of them are studs, 40 and 41. Paityn Weiss finishes 41st. And Carrie, it looks like SMU is going to finish second here, and Western Colorado will finish third. UT Arlington is in pretty good position to finish fourth, with Arkansas State fifth.
Arkansas had 27 points last year over Southern Miss, who had 123. So it's a little closer this year with SMU. But a pretty spectacular performance by Arkansas again, 11th in a row.
And just for context, last year the race was in 72 degrees when Izzy Van Camp won 15:58. So what are your thoughts on this then, if you can, a 15:58 in those conditions versus a 16:09 today with really nobody to push her in the last mile or so of the race?
Yeah, I mean, I think that on a cooler day in general, just a cooler day, we would have seen a sub-16. I think that she looked so good, even when she crossed the finish line. You know, there's some distress, but it wasn't overly done. I think she had a little more left in her, and she just looked so strong. She's a phenomenal athlete. I'm excited to see how she competes over the next few years. It's going to be fun.
And Carrie, was this a Lance Harder recruit or Chris Johnson recruit, or okay? Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe it was Lance. I mean, I think Lance told me that he has recruited the 2 more years. So he has no, excuse me. I think he said he wanted to see the girls that are juniors and seniors through because those were his recruits. But sorry, Lance, if I'm wrong on that. So that could have been Megan Elliott's recruit, but I know that he's in Megan Elliott's ear, and you know, it's a team effort there.
Well, they keep filing in, as they say. Let's see. Let's go down the list a little bit here. Nia Clatworthy, a sophomore from Lamar, finishing 13th. That's a good finish. Very good finish for her. Madeline Hill of Central Arkansas was 16th. And Madeline Hill, another very good track runner, 16:51 5,000-meter runner. She won the UCA Bear Cross Country this year and was second in the Trevecca Michael Pretorius Memorial Cross Country. And last year she was fifth in the American Athletic Conference 10,000 meters on the track. Good performance by her. J.B. Shuffleberger, Arkansas State in 18th, among another group of top finishers. Joanna Wisticott, a former Division II All-American from Christian Brothers and also representing Germany. She was second in the open race last year. This year, 23rd in the harder Habanero. And then the London Culbreth of TCU, 25th. She has run the fastest high school 5K in Chile Pepper history at 17:08. But she was running in a college division when she ran that 17:08, so she wasn't running against other high schoolers when she did that. And excuse me, 17:06.80 was Culbreth's time as a high schooler.
You know, anytime you are close to that 17-minute mark as a high schooler, you are running so fast. And that was the one thing that we saw with Paityn Noe. She was the first person from Iowa to go under 17 minutes in the 5K.
So just tying up here some final finishers. And looking at the team results, you can see just how many teams we had here in this event. 35 in total from all over Northwest Arkansas and other parts in the United States. Texas and Mississippi and North Dakota and Missouri. And you can see Arkansas, that large margin of victory, 69 points over SMU.